Oos. Hopefully my camera doesn't bug out. It was flashing different lights. So let's do an actual prediction here of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Unbiased, without my hopes and dreams involved or incorporated into my observation or my analysis. Now, first we're going to look at the live stream yesterday. But before we do that, a couple things. Number one, we're doing a watch party at the dojo. The first ever dojo watch party. Brendan and I met up on Sunday and we did a little test run and it's looking awesome. Okay, we're going to have a TV set up for us to watch the stream, and in one section of the dojo with this camera and set up with like a PC, and then we have a second camera we're going to cut to because we're doing big things out here, major productions, okay, which shows the whole dojo, which we can do breakdowns if I want to do sparring. I'll do some backflips or something, break some boards. We're just going to have some fun. We'll figure it out. So the viewers involved, but I'm looking forward to not being stuck behind the desk. It's not fun over here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want to be out here moving and grooving. Friday, watch party for on Netflix, etc., etc. But also, Wade is doing a watch party for the fight, so make sure you watch both of us. But it's going to be ringside, like right next to the ring, and Papa Plem is going to be there, the legend, the GOAT. The fact that he has his pops there doing the watch party with him is amazing. I'm going to ask my dad if he wants to come as well, but it's going to be 10 or 11, maybe a little late, but we'll see. We'll see. In the dojo too, may have to do it. Okay, let's get to the press conference. Was there anything? I saw some clips, but was there anything telling? That's what we care about, because I know the talking stuff. I'm more about the action. You know what I mean? I want to see how we throw punches. We made a video about Tyson looking old, and I saw Jake looking scary. It's not looking too good, you know. And I hear people say things. You got pundits and boxers saying there's no way. BJ Flores says there's no way that, you know, an influencer can beat Mike Tyson. And then some people just, you know, aren't blinded by that and go, he's still 58. I just want to hear what Mike has to say. Jake is going to be the usual. Number one, shout out to Whindersson Nunes for the hairstyle. Holy moly, look at me. If I got to change this camera angles. If I lean down too much, it's supposed to be faded here, and it's starting to fade here and fade up here. Not cool. Wade said this. I had the reverse fade going. Not cool. We need this. Look at this. Magical. Majestic. All right, so we're cutting them out. We just get a stoic Mike Tyson randomly. I need to put these giant heads. I need to put my Fortnite headset on so I can hear everything. I'm trying to fix this. He does not look happy. Is he yelling at that person? We have classic Iron Mike back.
Mr. Tyson, I just want to ask a little question. Can you share us why did you say this sentence? The fear of losing is too much fighting than dying. And what would you lose if you lose this fight? Thank you.
Fair play. If English is not your first language and you have to go up there and ask the question, it's hard to ask questions anyways up there. You know what I mean? The light, you get all the nerves and stuff. But to do it in your second language, difficult. Do we even know if Mike Tyson understood this question?
I'm not going to lose.
But just you say that in the last.
She said, but don't do that. He answered the question. Leave him alone.
Minute of the second.
I am not going to lose. Did you hear what I said?
Thank you.
That was a very quick thank you. Thank you. All right. So what to take from that? I don't know. Mike is he's locked in. That's for sure. He's definitely, you know, the fear is in there. I think she's referencing that. He's talked about, you know, he's scared to death. That is, but you want that as a fighter. I think that the issue with Jake Paul's opponents is they haven't been scared to death. They haven't respected him. Regardless, I mean, some of them had no chance against Jake. But even when I feel like the fight should have been more competitive, part of it was possibly his opponent taking him lightly. It's good to see that Tyson's not doing that. It's good that we start there. Okay, timeout. Okay, real quick interjection here. Brendan pulled up the tweet. Earlier today, I was talking to my wife about, I'm like, oh yeah, Serrano and Katie Taylor are fighting again. This is like one of the most legendary female fights of all time. This is just a big time fight in general, regardless of the Tyson versus Jake Paul. She kept asking about it. I'm trying to explain to her. She's like, it's not UFC though. It's not MMA, right? It's boxing. I said, yes, it's boxing. And then she's like, oh, it's boxing, not OnlyFans boxing. Okay, and the way she said it, like so casually, she was being like genuine. It wasn't like she wasn't trying to be sarcastic or rude or anything. But I died laughing. It's like, that's a tweet, and immediately tweeted it. Okay, so shout out to my wife. But sometimes that's how it is, you know, because a lot of the female boxers in influencer boxing do OnlyFans, and obviously I had that someone has also commented and said Sensei was sleeping on the couch after the Kingpin event. And obviously the Kingpin event, there were some OnlyFans there, and that was obviously got a lot of the attention. But a W comment from the wife.
This is a question for Mike and Jake.
Okay.
We've really appreciated your talking of each other. But we
Language.
thought there was enough
Let
negativity
him
in the
bleep
world,
that.
so we were curious if you had something nice to say about one another.
This should be good.
Well,
Anything come to mind, Jake?
Well, I think he's going to look good in the picture when he's on the canvas and I'm standing over him.
Anything come to mind, Mike? I'll take that as a no. Question for the champion, Mario Barrios.
Just Iron Mike in Iron Mike fashion. You know, this is pretty good. I thought I heard somewhere Jake said that Mike didn't do much, or he didn't say much, but you know, he's being the classic Iron Mike here. He's being the fighter Iron Mike Tyson, not the newer, nicer Mike Tyson. So this is what we want to see. That kind of energy is what you want to see. This is what people that are fans of Mike Tyson or older fans that want to see Iron Mike. This is good stuff.
Yeah, final word to you, Mike. Final word to the world.
I'm just ready to fight.
Yeah, there he is. Iron Mike Tyson, everyone. We're going to take a little break. We're gonna wrap this bad boy
That was a
up.
little
The keys
cringy.
of Madari-
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, that was funny, Ariel. But Mike just looks locked in. You know, he's not. He doesn't. He's an older guy. He doesn't care about he's getting paid. He's ready to fight. He's not caring about proving himself or making a name for himself or trying to put on a show, whatever. He's just here for the game. Here we go. Anything else? Oh, Papa Plem.
Real
Let's
fighters
get a little
in general,
Papa
they
Plem
love the
breakdown.
actions talk in the ring.
Time out. Look at it. Let's go back. First of all, look at Wade leading the show. My man's looking a little. He got some muscle tone going on. But look at the traps.
I know we're ready for our face-offs.
Look at this man looking like a whole linebacker right now. He's ready to suit up for the Hitman. Listen, we got some time, Wade. Just be ready for next summer. But look at this. This guy, maybe he did start doing the peptides. You never know. He's been talking about the peptitis and the stuffs, you know? You don't know. I mean, Wade out here looking
Before
yoked.
we get there,
All right. So, not much there. But we're here to make a prediction. And the thing that I was thinking about is how do I get the best perspective, right? Without getting lost in Mike Tyson talking about his shape and how hard he's been training and watching him hit the pads. We have to remember, we've seen Mike Tyson, the older Mike Tyson, fight against Roy Jones. Now, here's the thing. As we watch this here, we break it down. We have to realize that this was supposed to be an exhibition. They're fighting, but they're not supposed to knock each other out. Roy Jones has been on an interview or on a podcast saying that they were told to make sure they don't kill each other. Okay, now whether that was Mike and Roy's agreement or whoever's agreement, regardless, that was the agreement. And Roy talked about, man, he felt like Mike was really going for it, so he was worried at times because he's like, man, Mike, calm down. You know, because he was concerned that Mike only knows one way to go, and that's 100%, and that's full speed. And going for the kill. With that being said, even though Roy Jones is older here, Roy Jones is approaching this like an exhibition. So he's not going for the kill either, right? So there might be some times that is he letting up or is he concerned? Is he clinching more than usual? Not looking to do a lot of damage and trying to find ways to survive so he can bring the show on? That's an interesting take. More than I had a feeling it was like an exhibition, but to hear that Tyson was going all the way and really going for it and fighting at his peak, and Roy Jones may have not have been. Right, even though Roy Jones is older. So now we can see the things. Can Mike put it together? How does he handle being hit? Obviously here, I believe Mike is obviously bigger than Roy. I'm using heavier gloves. But if we want a real opinion, watch this. And do we feel like this version of Mike Tyson, even though it was a few years ago, and he was younger then, this is the younger Mike Tyson, even though they say he's in better shape now because it's not an exhibition, this is a real fight, but does that cancel it out, right? Mike Tyson he's older, so even though he's training better, does the age factor, even though it's a few years, makes a big difference, right? 30 to 35 is a big difference. I would imagine when you're in your 50s, 52 or 53, whatever, to 58 is a big difference, or whatever it was, 55 to 58. Those years can add up pretty quickly. This is round one right off rip. So good body shots, but again, you can see like Roy's really concerned, like hard angles out, big jab, but exiting. Something that we might see Jake do, right? I'm not surprised by that. Jake has done that against like Tommy Fury, where it's like head super low, super offline, a super high jab, and then wanting to get out of there. What we don't see from Roy here is the heavy right hand to follow. Good slip to hook there from Mike. Reflex is pretty good. And see here, he's moving forward. He's moving forward pretty well here, which is like not stumbling over himself completely. but he's defensive and efficient with how he's moving, which is classic. Hard body shot, normal collision there. But see this kind of stuff here where you see this is the stuff that is not going to happen, right? Very respectful in the clinch and a very respectful break here, right? Because it's an exhibition. These guys are still so fast at this age. So see, that doesn't look great there. Like when you see this from Mike, right? Let's look at this exchange here. Jab, but then let's see what Roy does. Jab, slip, and then immediately clinch, right? He's trying to hug. He's just obviously afraid of getting hit, but also not looking to do a lot of damage. And look at Mike's reaction here, right? Slip, and then he's ducking, but he's just kind of there clinching. And if Jake's throwing for real, that's not great, right? He's moving, but it's not the super explosive, elusive guy that we're used to seeing, right? That we've seen in the own highlight clips where he's slipping and coming up with hard hooks and being so powerful and vicious the entire time. Like that is what we want to see. That is great. Like if we get to see this, boom, boom. Yeah, being vicious there. This is what we want to see. But that's another thing that I'm concerned about is Tyson relies so much, and we got to be realistic here, relies so much on this leap, the gazelle hook to close the gap. It's just such a big part of his game. Like this is such a big part of his game. That's the thing that worries me the most. And I'm like, oh, right here. Is Jake going to be doing this every single time? Maybe. Or is he going to do what he usually does, which is weight over his front foot, head down, or not head down, but head leaning forward. And then when Tyson does this, Jake just is going to fire that right hand. And does Tyson have the reflexes to see that coming, right? He's always been faster than the other guy, always, as a heavyweight. And that's, again, catching Tyson off guard. But again, that's Roy Jones. So big right hand, beautiful. This is the stuff that I like to see because Jake, what you're going to get is probably some bigger reactions. If you're getting big reactions from Roy Jones, you're going to get some big reactions from Jake Paul. Big level change here. And then, like, immediately lunging to clinch. This is where Mike can have some good opportunity when it's super tight in the clinch. Just from getting to point A to point B is what makes me nervous, right? Point A, he's on the outside and he wants to slip and lunge in. Those are going to be opportunities for Jake in the dangerous spots. But I feel like once we get to point B and we're clashing and we're in the clinch right here, bam, beautiful right hand. This is what Tyson's got to do. That. If he can find a way just to clinch and just lean on Jake, lean on him and clinch and clinch and clinch. See, that not good. See, then I see something like that. Like lunge, obviously he misses, but it's just a little gingerly, right? We're not seeing the same pop. And again, Roy Jones here is also an older guy. I will say, though, it's good to see him take a punch there. That's the big question. Can he take a punch? If Jake can hit him and Tyson just wears it and he's like, all right, here we go, then we got ourselves a fight. The problem is every time that Jake fights somebody, every time he hits them for real, they drop. And we have to understand here, too, Mike is bigger than Roy here. We look at some of the standoff pictures when they're facing off, and you see that Jake is bigger, clearly the bigger guy than Tyson. That's obviously on purpose, so that's also worrisome, right? In these clinch situations, is that going to help Jake a little bit, just be a little bit heavier where Mike can't just throw him around? See that? Like, look at this little flurry here. Good slip, nice body hook. This is what we want to see from Mike. He's just got to find ways to not get hit. Great combination, but that's the stuff we want to see, right? Good reaction time, right? His eyes, when you get older, do the eyes go, right? Are you later on things? Are your instincts not on cue? We know that you keep the power, but can you still do this? Get underneath punches, be elusive, be alert, ability to stay on your toes, be accurate. Because I will say this, Jake has not seen anybody, regardless of obviously like Mike Tyson, but the defensive ability. Nobody's been on this part. Even like you might be able to say Anderson Silva, the two pros that he fought, no, not this level, right, of IQ and awareness, right? Anderson Silva, yes, but Anderson Silva is just a risk taker defensively. And that was more for MMA, able to use other tools. He was too risky with it. Like Mike is obviously, he's a classic boxer where his head movement and his movement's efficient and it's setting up his offense, not just doing it to show off or just trying to lean away. Or sometimes Anderson would get frustrated, not being able to counter, find a way in, and he tries to bait you to throw stuff so he can evade and try to create openings. Whereas This is just Mike defending, like any other day. I will say here, Roy looks like he wants no part of this fight anymore. Okay, this is clearly, it's not like Jake. Jake's going to be a whole different animal in there in terms of just power and pressure. Roy looks like he's trying to find ways not to fight and get his way out of the round, not do damage. So it's hard to look at these completely in that way because we know that Roy's not going 100% here. But so far, this is looking good for Mike. If he's this guy, I'm happy. If he's better, this is even better. Woo! That's still a fast Mike Tyson, I got to admit. Look at Roy, how to pull out all the tricks. He's going southpaw. He's switching his stances. But great switch there from Mike there. Still got shades of it. But look, you see the way Roy's throwing punches, right? You see, like, look at this. Look at this. Just don't look at Mike here. Just look at Roy. He's slapping the punches, right? Look, slapping the punches, backing up, and then big reactions and clinching. Roy's not putting his weight behind those punches. This is worrisome, obviously, right here. This is a great, that exchange right here. Things like this, like that miss, open, it's just not the same. It just doesn't, it's not as dangerous as it used to be. But again, here we are, round 8, 2-minute rounds, round 8, and he's still moving on. Again, this is Roy Jones. It's not going to be Jake Paul. So you see in Roy, the elusiveness, the combinations, the angles, is just mastery, right? So to see, and this is something like not Tyson is used to. Tyson's, fighting heavyweights. He's usually the guy doing all the angles, the guy being slick, lateral movement. That's good there for Mike. We're seeing good stuff here, honestly. Good stuff. Okay, so this is the best we got in terms of making a legit prediction. Like when you see that, we still see the age, right? Take into context, exhibition there for Roy Jones. But take into context, it's also Roy Jones, not Jake Paul, right? So the chess match is different. This is going to be more about physicality and athleticism than it is going to be about the chess match of boxing. I feel like. I think it's going to come down to those just big power punches and how Tyson deals with them. I think another thing that's important, obviously, we're saying, early is better for Mike, not later. However, I feel like a lot of Jake's fights, he's had some success because he's able to land some things that the other person didn't see coming. Now, I know when I say that, it seems like, yeah, of course, that's boxing. But what I mean by that is when you're first fighting or sparring with somebody, you have to try to figure out their game. Right? Like, what are they doing? And you start to notice certain things. Like, once they throw the right hand, you've now seen the right hand. Then you see the right hook. You see the overhand. Okay, now I've seen it. I've downloaded it. Okay, now I'm starting to see his setups. So you start to pick up on things. If Jake is able to land something significant prior to that, that's going to be big for Jake. Because I feel like, not necessarily the later the fight goes, but if Jake shows his cards early and isn't able to land something, that's going to help Tyson a lot because it's going to, he's going to be able to use his IQ, his awareness, and just his instincts are going to be able to go, okay, I see this coming and I can set things up. Whereas like I remember Evander Holyfield and Vitor. Vitor is a little bit not as conventional as a boxer, MMA guy. Maybe Evander, overlooked him. And a different kind of heavyweight. When you look at heavyweights getting older or just boxers getting older, Tyson was somebody that relied on elusiveness and his ability to evade and use his footwork, right? And he still has that, which is good because his ability not to get hit. Heavyweights, when they're bigger guys, even they get older, they get slower, they still hit hard, but they take a lot of punches and they're relying on their ability to land hard punches. So they still get hit. And you saw like Evander just couldn't deal with getting hit. But Tyson is a guy who relies a lot on movement. So when he's just in his element, it's going to be hard to hit him. Right, regardless. He's not going to be easy to hit. Sometimes he gets hit because he puts a lot of pressure and he's just in the danger zone. But he's by no means an easy guy to hit, right? So that's the one thing I think benefits Tyson. But I just feel like it's too dangerous early, to maybe he can underestimate Jake a little bit. Maybe, because Jake has this, what Jake does very well is he plays possum very well. He's very deceitful. If it seems like he can't hurt you, it seems like, this guy, or he's not going to throw that right hand. And guys just get really comfortable in front of him. If you look at Anderson Silva, lazy in the clinch, boom, got dropped. Tyron Woodley standing flat-footed right in front of him, lazy and comfortable, bam, got dropped. That uppercut against that pro, Augustus, stand there flat-footed, lazy, got dropped, right? So often we've seen Jake catch people by surprise. So and that's obviously going to make the most sense. That earlier in the fight, against Nate Diaz, Jake just bullied him, right? Clear size difference. Jake was a harder puncher, and Nate couldn't offer anything and is scary enough, gonna gain any respect from Jake. But in this case, man, what do I predict? Oh man, I don't want to say early like stoppage for Jake. I really don't. That's what I'm feeling, but I really don't. Okay, if we're not saying early stoppage for Jake, okay, I expect a really ugly fight because I expect Tyson to figure out Jake a little bit, and then Jake becomes defensive, very similar to like Tommy Fury, so a lot of clinching, and then nothing really significant landing, and I expect some headbutts, maybe even some cuts. So I expect if there isn't a knockout, I would say probably Jake, will win a decision because he'll score, and Tyson will try to enter, and they'll clash, and maybe Tyson I just see him kind of like fading, and Jake is able to jab and maybe circle and keep his range and use his footwork and use that youth. But then I see Jake just sneaking out a decision there. But unfortunately, my gut is just saying he's going to catch him early. And the 58-year-old man is not going to be able to take the punch. Let me know what you think. Okay, because the more I think about it, the more I get. Okay, and I don't want to think about it anymore. See you at the watch party. Oos.